I'm a Christian. I'm a pretty quiet Christian. I don't usually say much about it because it sometimes strikes up when I'm not here kind of I don't like to argue with people. But I do get a lot of information to my email about like persecution and stuff, and I'm well aware that this is not only Christians, it's just that we tend to have like a big organization that pays attention to this. And we all know, especially with the wars that are going on, the persecutions that go on in other countries. It's kind of focused on Muslim versus like Christian or American, but it happens to Jews, obviously, Catholics, everybody. So we only got 7 minutes, so I'm just going to focus on one person. And you may have heard about him because it's gotten a lot of attention in the media. This is Pastor Britanny. He was born in Iran, but he's an American citizen. It's gotten a lot of attention because of his wife, Nagme. If you have somebody who's suffering in prison, the best thing that you can do is bring as much media attention to it as possible. That way you can get people backing it up. He was in Iran to start an orphanage. So he went over there and he was recently visiting in order to put together sort of the board of members to oversee the production of the orphanage. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard basically took him. They put him under house arrest for about 5 days in his family's home in Iran. His parents still live there. They told him to wait for a court summons, but instead of sending him a court summons, they just came and got him. They sent him to Evan prison, and he stayed there for about 5 days before anybody heard of what happened to him. I looked up a lot of stats on Evan prison. I heard a lot of really bad things about it. It's kind of hard to find like real hard evidence. Like you get a lot of accounts from people who stayed there. People basically described it as you're put into solitary confinement for about 6 months. You're routinely taken out and beaten and forced to give a confession of whatever they're trying to make you confess, whether it's true or not. If you don't confess, you're eventually placed in with the rest of the cellmates, but you don't get a lot of food. They'll take you out and kind of do mock executions, so they'll blindfold you and take you out and put you in front of people and with guns and pretend like they're going to shoot you and then bring you back and tell you, that's what's going to happen if you don't confess. Once he was taken out of solitary confinement, he was allowed to be visited by his parents every Monday. So that's when we started to get a lot of information back to the U.S. about what was going on, and everything that he said fell in line with what the other prisoners said. It's referred to as Evan University because it's where they send a lot of intellectual people as well as murderers. People like human rights activists, political prisoners go there. So what they tend to charge these people with who are not really murderers is national security threat. And that's what they told him that he was put under. He was a threat to national security. Him coming there as a Christian was undermining the government of Iran, basically. So that's what they were saying. He eventually was able to see his attorney about 24 hours before his trial. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison in Iran. This was presided over by 2 judges. One of them was Ahmad Dagar, who was sanctioned by the EU for long-term death sentences to peaceful protesters. So he's somebody who's well known by the EU and has gotten in trouble with the European Union for sentencing people to death who were just peacefully protesting. His medical condition is pretty bad. He was restricted from receiving any medical care for a long time. Under a lot of pressure from the U.S., because at this point a lot of politicians like Senator John Kerry or Secretary of State John Kerry were starting to speak out, as well as other leaders in other countries. Before he was allowed to go to the hospital, though, he was made to change into a murderer's uniform. So different people in the prison have different uniforms, and they made him change into the one murderers wear. He's brought there, but turned away. Eventually, he did see somebody, and the doctor said that he was suffering from internal bleeding, and that he needed to see somebody immediately. But that was ignored for about a month. And when he did finally see someone, the doctor said that he was suffering from an intestinal wound, which was associated with a lot of scar tissue, which basically means that it was being reopened consistently. So once he had his trial, and he was sentenced to 8 years, obviously this was pretty devastating to his wife and kids. He hasn't spoken to them in the entirety that he's been there because he's had a lot of phone calls. His family went back to visit him again on the next Monday, and he was gone. They told him that they would no longer be allowed to see him. He was transferred to Rajesh Shah, which is termed a prison where prisoners are sent to disappear. So it's where they tend to send, I guess, the inconvenient intellectual prisoners, the political prisoners, to this prison to never be heard from again. So he's not, this was reported early November. He's had no further contact with anybody, so nobody really knows what's going on with him now. A Dutch diplomat, I'll just make this short, but he referred to it, and this is before Pastor Saeed went there. This is when 7 leaders from a place in Iran ended up. He said that it's a place where political prisoners are seen as a nuisance, are stowed away. Going to Karaj is severe punishment. Once there, one stops to be a human. One is put out of sight, even of human rights and activists, and the past. In Rajesh Shah, political prisoners have to share cells with dangerous criminals like murderers and rapists who don't hesitate to attack their cellmates. They have nothing to lose. Many of them are condemned anyways. Murders or unexplained deaths are the regular occurrence there. And it does have the highest death rate of all of the prisons in Iran. So his life is pretty worried right now. He's been gone for a little over a year. There's a lot of ways to help. Over 600,000 signatures have been filed on a petition. A lot of donations have been made, which is what made them able to take this to the European Union in the first place and get lawyers and stuff. 50,000 letters, a call from President Obama to the Iranian president directly, encouraging him to release the Pastor Saeed. If you would like to get involved, you can also sign these petitions and these letters. This is basically what the website looks like when you go there. If you want to do the letter, you'll have a pre-made letter that looks just like this. You put in your name, your last name, your email, so it shows that it's from someone. You can erase this whole letter and write your own letter, anything that you want, as long as it's not like offensive or anything. And this gets sent directly to Iran. This is the website address right down here at the bottom. You can do this on your smartphone. It takes you straight to that page. You can sign the petition. You can donate if you like to. You can write that letter, and then you can also share it on either Facebook or Twitter. It's all set up to be pretty easy. Like I said, you can do it on your phone. It only takes like a few minutes. He's obviously not the only person that's over there captive right now. This is hopefully not just going to help free him, but a lot of other people who are stuck in prison, and the other one who are really kind of don't have it